If Joe actually gained the power to read minds, he'd stop trusting everyone he loves within about a week, and it wouldn't be their fault. Here's how it starts. One ordinary afternoon, Joe touches something he shouldn't have, and suddenly, impossibly, he can hear thoughts. Not just one person's. The first thing he notices isn't some deep secret. It's a stranger on the street having a fleeting, ugly thought about a woman walking by, and it's gone half a second later, replaced by something completely different, and something else after that. Human minds don't produce one clean thought at a time. They produce a constant, chaotic stream, most of it contradictory, meaningless, gone before it even registers. Then he makes the mistake of walking into a coffee shop. 20 people, 20 overlapping streams of noise, none of it organized, none of it waiting politely for a turn. A grocery store is worse. A train platform is nearly unbearable. Ordinary public spaces, the ones nobody thinks twice about, become the hardest environments he's ever tried to survive. Here's the part almost nobody accounts for. Psychological research on what's called intrusive thoughts has found that over 90% of people regularly experience violent, disturbing, or shameful thoughts they never ask for and don't actually want. A loving parent gets a flash image of dropping their baby. A devoted partner gets a random, ugly thought about someone else. These thoughts don't predict behavior. They don't reveal character. They mental noise, a normal byproduct of a healthy brain, and they mean essentially nothing. Except Joe can't tell the difference. To him, every single one of those meaningless flickers sounds exactly as real as someone's actual, genuine feelings. He has no filter that separates the noise from the truth, because there isn't one. Even the person thinking it usually can't tell in the moment either. So when Joe's sister has one passing, irritated thought about him during an argument, gone in an instant, forgotten by her within seconds, Joe hears it in full, and it doesn't fade. He remembers it. He replays it. He wonders if it's how she really feels. It happens with his closest friend. It happens with someone he's falling for. Every relationship in his life is suddenly filtered through unfiltered access to the ugliest, most meaningless passing thought each person has ever had about him, indistinguishable from anything real. It gets worse in a way Joe doesn't expect. After a few weeks, he starts losing track of which thoughts are even his own. A stray, uncharacteristic thought crosses his mind, and he can't tell anymore if it's something he actually thought or something he absorbed from a stranger on the street an hour ago. The boundary between his own inner voice and everyone else's noise starts to blur, and there's no clean way to sort it back out. And here's the scale problem underneath all of it. Researchers estimate the human brain generates thousands of distinct thoughts in a single day. Joe isn't hearing that from one person. He's hearing some version of it from every mind within range, simultaneously, constantly, with no off switch. Sleep doesn't help. A crowded street doesn't help. There's no room left that's actually quiet, because quiet was never really a property of a place. It was a property of only hearing one mind, his own. The exhaustion compounds fast. Constantly filtering an unfilterable stream of information takes a real physical toll, the same way sustained sensory overload does in any overwhelmed nervous system. Headaches, trouble concentrating on anything for more than a few minutes. A body that's technically resting, but never actually gets quiet enough to recover. Here's the one part that isn't pure fantasy, though. Real neuroscience has made genuine progress on something adjacent to this. Brain-computer interfaces that can decode basic intended words or commands from brain activity, mostly developed to help paralyzed patients communicate again. It's real, and it's promising. It's also nothing like what Joe has. That technology reads deliberate, focused intention. It doesn't drown someone in every stray, meaningless thought from every mind in a 3-block radius.
And the people around Joe figure out what he can do eventually. Some stop talking to him entirely, uncomfortable being near someone who might catch a thought they never meant to have. Others go the opposite direction and try to use him. An interrogation room offering money for one afternoon of his time. A business rival wanting to know what a competitor is really thinking. A courtroom suddenly very interested in a person who can supposedly read the truth out of anyone. Joe stops mentioning what he can do at all, because every version of people finding out ends the same way. He becomes a tool first and a person second. Eventually, he just stops going out much. Not out of fear, out of exhaustion. A quiet apartment is the closest thing to peace he has left.
So here's the actual nightmare, and it's not what people usually picture. It was never about Joe uncovering everyone's hidden secrets. It's that he can no longer tell the difference between a meaningless passing thought and someone's real feelings. About anything. From anyone. Including, eventually, himself. The power that promised total connection to everyone around him did the opposite. It made him trust no one completely, including the people who never stopped loving him at all.